The James Show Podcast.
What's the word for it if you hate Christians? What's the word for it? Like when people are anti-Christian, or a movement's anti-Christian, or a group is anti-Christian, or a protest is anti-Christian, what's the word for it? Because if it was against black people, we'd call it racist. If it was against Jews, we'd call it anti-Semitic. If it was anti-women, we'd call it misogynistic. What's the word? What is it? Do we not have one in the English language? Isn't that convenient? Did you ever actually read 1984? I know you've heard it referenced a billion times all across talk radio for years and years and years, but did you ever actually read it? Because when I was in high school, I thought, what is with their concentration on the language and on the vocabulary? Because in the dystopian future, the party erases certain words from the lexicon and then dumbs down the language. So things aren't great or fantastic. They're just good or double plus good. Like the language gets really dumbed down, and they don't have really a word for freedom. Like if you talk about things being free in 1984, that means it doesn't cost you anything at the store. But this whole idea that you can make your own rules for yourself and do whatever you feel like and, you know, live in a free country, that was totally erased even from the conversation. So the question goes back, what is it called? What is it called when a bunch of protesters go and interrupt a church service? What are they called? There's not even a word for it. That should bother you. I had mentioned that at the beginning when I was filling in this morning. And a guy sent me a Facebook message with a link. He's like, look, it's called Christophobia. And then he sent me a link to some book that was named Christophobia. And it's like the fact that no one on CNN or MSNBC or even on Fox News has ever been accused of having Christophobia proves my point. Like it's just it's like not even mentioned as part of it. So I don't know. I feel like probably tomorrow we're going to go through the media coverage of the last 2 days over the church services that were interrupted, the Christian church services that were interrupted by ICE protesters just yesterday. But you got to hear some of this because part of the audio is just them chanting stuff, and we'll get to like the commentary. But listen to this. Hands up, don't shoot. You hear that? Never happened. Yeah, we get it. That didn't even happen in Minneapolis. What are y'all talking about? But you've heard rounds and had hands up, don't shoot on his shirt. Remember when the who was that was coming out of the locker room? That was the Rams when they were still in St. Louis, wasn't it? When they came out of the locker room with hands up, don't shoot on their T-shirts for, I don't know, some playoff game or something. But hands up, don't shoot never happened. They're referencing the shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. But that was something that was made up by lying witnesses. In fact, one of them made it up and the other ones just backed him up. Yeah, we saw that too. But it never happened because there's 15 witnesses who had to remain anonymous, never did interviews, that told you that's not what happened at all. The forensic evidence told you that's not what happened at all. You know, the bullet hole entries and all the evidence on the ground. So they come in, they interrupt a Christian church service on Sunday in Minneapolis, yelling something that didn't happen. So just let you know they're just aggressively uninformed. But the problem is they're uninformed and they feel so confident in their worldview that they're interrupting a church service. What would it be called if you did that to a mosque? It would be called a hate crime. It would be called Islamophobic. And the reporting that you're hearing about this, not from me, obviously, but from any other source, are they using the word Christophobic or Christophobia? Does anyone use that word? Have you heard that word once before in your entire life? So no, this is obviously an anti-Christian hate crime. I don't like the term hate crime, but if it's going to be used against us, then fair is only fair. It should be used against them. And then the guy that's holding the phone just starts harassing these people in church. Now, the video you can't see is there's some kids that are like clutched up against their moms. There's some like 4-year-old little girl that's like clinging to her mom's arm and her mom's trying to comfort her because these freaks, these absolute mutants, because they don't come in wearing their Sunday best. They're not wearing suits and ties. They look like the bar scene from Star Wars needs to shave. And listen to this guy just harassing Christians in church.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives.
Already.
Oh, these comfortable white people.
Grapping about white people again? Great. Then, by the way, this guy's white. So, don't you love it when they use, like, your race as a pejorative, like it's an insult? Like, whatever I am, that's an insult. Should I be embarrassed? I'm white. Should I take offense to that? Garrett doesn't look very offended. Anyway,
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit as a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would dine with immigrants. You do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities?
Hey, wait. Did Jesus wear a suit? Wait, he didn't wear a suit? I thought he was wearing a suit this whole time. I thought he wasn't walking around in like a bathrobe. News to me. Did suits even exist in the year 33? Is that what we had? We had the three-piece suit, maybe a necktie. This is fun, except for these people absolutely hate us, and they're using this as a pretext to destroy your civilization. Yeah, Jesus didn't wear a suit, so let invaders come here and don't eject them even when they rob you blind for billions of dollars, and just don't enforce the law because Jesus didn't wear a suit.
Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where?
Probably because you talk like that. I don't want to hang out with you. This guy's real fun at parties, isn't he?
Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving.
Does that preclude you from being a Christian? Like not missing a meal? You can't be a Christian. You haven't suffered. Just screaming his head off. Just screaming at these people. You think you're the good guy? You go in and you interrupt these people in their place of worship while all they're doing is having their regular old church service, and you just interrupt it. Y'all all start screaming lies, and then you start screaming in their face, and you're scaring kids, and you're not even trying to have a dialogue. He's not trying to talk to them. He's just berating these people.
Shame! Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something.
Actually, I gotta tell you, pretty comfortable over here. I'm having a good time. I'm chilling at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. I've got like 32 ounces of Diet Dr. Pepper here. I just ate a taco salad, and it really just it takes a lot of cojones to call that thing a salad. It was just like fried dough with some meat in it, with some cheese, with sour. Heck yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm in climate control, and it's like 30 degrees outside. Or actually, I think it warmed up a little bit, didn't it? Oh no, they're uncomfortable. The crazy part is, does this guy interrupt any church services when 3 million to 5 million people were being deported under Obama? ICE was doing its thing then. They were doing deportations. They had kids in cages. They were separating families. Did you interrupt the church service then? Hey, brave guy, tough guy. Why don't you go? Your Muslim neighbors aren't doing anything about it either. Why don't you go interrupt the nearest mosque? Oh yeah, that's right, because they're not nice like we are. They'd probably pop you in the mouth. Anyway, let this guy finish because it's great. This is what you do with your Sunday.
Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice. He wears a suit and tie, and he hangs out with Kristi Noem. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not? Why are you not going down to Whipple and joining us in protest against this inhumanity? You claim to be a Christian. Act like one.
Why aren't you being more inclusive? We hate you. You're not winning anybody over. You're just harassing them in their church service. You're trespassing with ill intent. Hate crime. Hate crime right there. Right? Or am I crazy? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. And it's not that I think this is, an egregious criminal act and Christians are heinous victims in this situation. No, but they're being an a-hole, and there are rules against that. If you go interrupt the church to say something that these people disagree with, they'd probably charge you with the crime. Let's see it. Even if you don't like the idea of a hate crime, there's the FACE Act. You ever heard of the FACE Act? Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. So Bill Clinton signed this into law in 1994, and there was a lot of anti-abortion protests and stuff going on at the time that they were addressing. And in order to get the Republicans, the conservatives, the people who are against baby killing, to get on board, they also included you can't obstruct or interrupt people as they're trying to get abortion services, just like you can't obstruct like the entryway or the services provided at a religious building. So this was for both. So this started out, you have religious freedom and abortion freedom crammed into just one weird bill here. Like these things don't normally go together. Hey, but that's how we got through. So it's illegal to use force, threats, physical obstruction against individuals seeking to either enter the building or obtain the services. So, literally, the service. Either like you're in the middle of getting your uterus shot vac out, or you're singing some lovely hymns to the Almighty. Comparable ways to spend your Sunday, right? So maybe there is an avenue for something of these people to be prosecuted. Attorney General Pam Bondi tweeted yesterday, I just spoke to the pastor in Minnesota whose church was targeted. Attacks against law enforcement and the intimidation of Christians are being met with the full force of federal law. If state leaders refuse to act responsibly to prevent lawlessness, this Department of Justice will remain mobilized to prosecute federal crimes and ensure that the rule of law prevails. Listen, this is real easy. This is real easy. All those people go to jail. That's it. This will stop immediately. To the phones we go. Other Garrett, can you pull up Sandra in Fort Worth to start us with? Hey, Sandra.
Hi. The word you're looking for, there are two of them, atheist or agnostic. An atheist knows there is a God, but an agnostic doesn't even think it's possible.
Yeah, but there's plenty of atheists that wouldn't dare interrupt a church service and aren't attacking us and aren't necessarily anti-Christian. What's the name for this act that we saw on Sunday where these protesters did an act of intimidation to disrupt the Christian service? What is that called? Because if they had gone into a mosque, it would be Islamophobic. If they had gone into a temple, it would have been anti-Semitic. What's the Christian version of that?
Evil. It's just evil.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good answer. All right, let's go to Helen, also in Fort Worth. All you ladies in Fort Worth, I'm just down the street here at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. You come say hi. Helen, you're on WBAP.
Hi. Well, initially I called to talk about how the same thing you just mentioned. So you just took all my information away that I was going to share, that Bill Clinton had made it, a felony. These old ladies and Christians and preachers are being thrown in prison for even talking to someone going into an abortion clinic. And these people are attacking our federal officers. So the same thing. Why don't we make it a felony to block federal officers trying to do their job? Or even in this new thing they're doing, going into a church, excuse me, what's wrong with the freedom of religion on top of everything else? But I can't think of a word other than, I guess, a jihad in general, or just persecution,
Well, that's the point, Helen. You're a person who is sensitive to such things, and I don't know the word for it. There's not a word for it is the point, Helen. Like, we're not even allowed to discuss the persecution of Christians in modern lexicon.
No, yeah, I guess it's more of our anti-racism type of behavior. I don't know. You can attack every other religion, and it's a crime. But
well, on your social media feed, Helen, on your social media feed, every once in a while, don't you see a story floating by about how some old lady got put in jail because she was singing hymns outside of an abortion clinic? And I get it; she's well intended, but she is like kind of harassing the business and the people that go in there. She's not making them feel good about their decisions, So if they're going to be that hypersensitive about abortion clinics, then what we saw today was clearly worse. Because that guy that's getting in their face, you call yourself a Christian, you're wearing a suit. That's way worse than singing the old lady singing a hymn.
Yeah, we need our safe space too.
Well, look, you and I agree. They should go to jail. Helen, are they going to go to jail?
Nobody seems to be going to jail.
I know. Do we live in a Christo-fascist society, a white supremacist society? If we just get trod underfoot like this and the people who are jacking around with us have no consequences? I doubt it. All right, we got a bunch of great callers lined up. Mm-hmm. If you want to get next, Helen's going to hang up and open up one phone line, 800-288-9227. Thank you, Helen in Fort Worth. And if you're out and about, come on by them at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, Monday through Thursday for this week, next week, and the week after. Pretty much for the next 3 weeks, except for Fridays. I'm going to be here, so come on out. And we're going to figure out, what do we do with these people that are interrupting churches? Because I know there's a lot of people out here. You probably better not interrupt the First Baptist Church of Bug Tussle. That might not end well for you. So here's one of the protesters.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit?
All right, enough of that. What do you do with these people? This is clearly a hate crime, but I would just like to point out that in the modern vernacular, there's not even a word to describe what it's like when you get your religion attacked and oppressed. There's not even a word for it, really. What's the anti-white word? Racist? No, that's not the same thing. That's not what they mean when people say racist. They don't mean anti-white. There's not even a word for that. Do you know the word for being anti-woman is misogyny? Do you know what the word is for anti-man? It's not misogyny. It's a different word. Have you ever heard this word before? Garrett, you ever heard this word before? Misandry. That's what it's called when you're anti-man. But it gets brought up so little in the media, they like to act like it doesn't exist. That's not even part of the conversation to be had. So you don't know that word. Is nobody anti-man? Of course they are. Well, then why don't they get assigned that word? I guess it doesn't fit the narrative. It really is that bad, people. You are allowed, or I don't know, look, I'm a straight white Christian male. There's homophobic. Is anyone ever called heterophobic? Has anyone ever been called heterophobic? So you can oppress me all you want. No one's going to accuse you of hate crime or being part of the hateful line of thought. There's not even a word to describe if you poo all over me. So if you're going to discriminate with anyone, start with old Parker here. Ken in Arlington. Yeah, I think that's the moral of today's show, in knowing's half the battle. If you're going to oppress someone, start with me. Ken in Arlington, you're on WBAP.
I want to know, hey, was he storming the churches during the BLM riots and doing the same thing?
I don't know. I don't think so. But the one of the organizing factions of the storming of the Minnesota church yesterday was BLM. That was one of they're reported as being part of that, the organization of that.
Yeah. So, but they'll do it for. You notice it's a Catholic church. They're not going to go do it to a Muslim church or a Somali church there.
I don't know if it's a Catholic church. I think it could have been Anglican, could have been Lutheran. I don't know. I know it's a Christian church. But yeah, they don't have the guts to go do that to a Muslim church. Actually, if you did it at a mosque around Minneapolis, you'd probably get a bunch of Somalis. So I don't know if that'd be the right people to protest in front of.
Right. So you want to know the form of justice, though?
Yes, please tell me.
Well, I mean, why stop in bug tussle? You said the wood chipper. I mean, why not carry it to other parts of the country?
Well, wood chipper is first and foremost for pedophiles, is what I like to do with wood chippers. But, there's exceptions if there's especially heinous criminals out there. I'm not going to wood chipper somebody for protesting. And I have a real hard time disliking the people who are doing this because, of course, if you're a low IQ individual or you haven't been taught to think critically and you've been hearing a conversation that doesn't even include words for oppressing men or oppressing Christians or oppressing straight people, this is the logical point of view or logical course of action if you agree with what people are saying on MSNBC or MSNO or whatever they're calling it.
Low IQ and low sperm count shouldn't be allowed to breed. So, I mean, that's my opinion. So.
All right. Well, I'm not getting into eugenics on the show, but thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Let's go to Kenny in Sunset. Have time? Yeah, Kenny in Sunset. You're next up on WBAP.
Hi, James. I think the word you're looking for is simple. The Bible calls it the spirit of Antichrist.
Okay, but the Antichrist is just one dude, right? That's not the label for the train of thought or the ideology that seeks to oppress Christians.
Well, it's going to be one dude, but there is a spirit of Antichrist. It can be all over the world, and is.
Oh, no, I believe that. The point is, like, when you turn on the TV or when you're watching movies or TV shows and they want to portray a character that is anti-Christian, what is the word they use to describe him?
I don't know what that word would be, but...
But that's the point, Kenny. It's kind of a rhetorical question. It's a trick question. The point is, I'm pointing out that there's not a word for it. They don't even describe what it's like when you're persecuted, Ken.
Right, because they don't care about you and me.
Well, because we are the biggest impediment to them taking over. Right. Western civilization, especially Christians, especially straight white Christian men, throughout history, we are a tyrant's worst nightmare. And it's not white men, it's Western civilization. The white people in Russia couldn't put on the yoke of socialism fast enough. They didn't do a good job fighting against it in the Baltics or so much in Poland or Romania or Moldova or Ukraine or whatever. So it's not a white people thing. It's a Western civilization thing. It's not our skin tone. It's not even our religion. It's our way of life and our thoughts and our mores and our values. And we are a tyrant's worst nightmare, so they constantly have to tear us down. They just don't even give you the words to describe it. Thank you very much. That's Kenny in Sunset. I'm going to cram in Chris in Dallas. Hey, Chris in Dallas. You're on WBAP. What you got?
Hey, James, real quick comment and question. Does this seem like to you that the DOJ's afraid of overstepping too much?
I don't think they're afraid of overstepping, but I think you and I both notice in our entire life that they are much more hesitant to go after the people who commit, religious crimes if it's against Christians, to race crimes if it's against white people, or sex crimes if it's against men, So I'm not holding my breath thinking the DOJ is going to come swoop down and arrest some of these people, because they still haven't arrested any of the people who did the Russian collusion hoax. They haven't arrested any of the people that lied through their teeth on COVID. Well, what about the COVID people? That's been like 5-6 years now, and no one's been arrested for that. So I have a pretty cynical view of that, not to bring down the show here, but no, I don't share any optimism that these nerds who should go to jail are going to go to jail.
I got in a Twitter thing with Harmeet Dillon a while ago, and she told me the reason they're not arresting right now is because they got to go through the judges to get subpoenas. So another question, what happens when them judges don't want to bring charges? What then?
Yeah, right.
I mean, that doesn't make sense to me.
Because all we want, Chris, is for these people to get the same treatment that the January 6ers got. A bunch of grandmas that loitered in Statuary Hall, they tracked them down for weeks and months and went and pulled them out of their houses and raids, and no one cared about Fourth Amendment protection and freedom of speech.
Judges give them subpoenas for that?
Yeah, they got it. They got all of them. So that's something to watch for, Chris. Good point. Thank you. That's Chris in Dallas. If you want to jump on the phone, 800-288-9227. I want to hear more solutions, too. Do we have a word for when Christians get oppressed or attacked or interrupted or intimidated like they did just yesterday in Minneapolis? Or are we just going to sit back and let this happen and be a bunch of chumps? Derek in Flower Mound, you're on WBAP. What do you think?
The word is theophobia.
Okay.
And it's a real word. Some friends of mine and I went through this exercise a few months ago wondering if it existed. Now,
yeah, but that's not anti-Christian. That's just anti-God in general. And that's not religion-specific. That's just the concept of God, theophobia.
Well, okay, you got me there. But that was the closest I could come up with. Now,
well, even if that does fit the definition, you haven't heard that word on CNN or MSNBC or even Fox News. So, point still stands. Anyway, go ahead. Second point. Right.
The second
All right, go ahead, Derek.
Is you were wanting to know what to do about it. Well, if you look at the KKK Act, which is 2 laws above the FACE Act, both of those laws make it a conspiracy to plan to do what they did, and Don Lemon has them on YouTube planning it.
Yeah, I think I heard Markley Van Camp and Robbins talking about that when I was preparing for the show, but I'm not really familiar with that, so I can't impress everybody. Oh, you know everything. I don't know this one. So yeah, do you know more about the Klan Act?
I went and read them. Yeah, I went and read them both, and it's about the third thing down in both of those statutes that conspiring to do it is a federal felony.
I hope they actually act on this, because Derek, even if it is a felony. Okay, good. Then you share my cynicism so I don't just sound like a jerk. All right, well, thanks for the update. I'm going to look into that Klan Act.
One quick thing. You were trying to figure out what the church was, and they're an affiliate of the Southern Baptist Convention.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Derek. And do the story. Let's do Leslie and Bug Tussle. Leslie and Bug Tussle, you're next up on WBAP. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, Leslie.
How are you? We met last year at that bar.
Okay. Let's see. Leslie and Bug Tussle. Was that at Shaw's? Or the place in Keller? Anyway, go ahead. What's your point on the...
John and I grew up in Minnesota. We're class of 73. And I worked for the Minnesota Supreme Court. I was the accountant for the law library before Alan Page made it famous. And the word for these rabble-rousers is called hellions, and they're wreaking hell.
Okay. I mean, hellion, I got it, but is that a specifically anti-Christian use because Hellion's just a mischievous, troublesome, or unruly person. I'm looking for one, and it's an impossible task. You're going snipe hunting here, people. There's not a word for it, so you can keep trying to answer it. But even if you come up with one, is it something that I've heard on MSNBC or Fox News or written in the New York Times or anything like that? But Leslie, how do we fix it?
How do we fix it?
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't he going to bring in the National Guard?
Okay, National Guard. Let's do it. Leslie said so. And which bug tussle are you from?
The one at that Las Colinas bar.
There's a bug tussle in Las Colinas?
I have to say, what infuriated me is when you were talking about misogynist, because that word did not exist in 1973.
Really, even during the feminist movement and Mary Tyler Moore show, and they didn't have the misogynist yet?
No, MCP, male chauvinist pig.
Yeah, well, that's me. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's Leslie in Bug Tussle, supposedly. And this is Steve in Weatherford. Hey, Steve, you're on WBAP.
Hey, sir, you're spot on. I would call it Christian phobic.
Yeah, but nobody gets called that. That's kind of my point.
Well, maybe we need to start using the term a whole lot more often.
Yeah, we need to come up with some sort of term for it because we're destined to... We can't even name our enemies.
Well, Christian phobic.
I don't think that's going to catch on. We need something better than that, right? So, like, I don't know, anti-Jesus or Jesus-less, or I don't know. We'll work on that. We'll workshop it, Steve. Let's go to John in Whitesboro. Hey, John, you're on WBAP.
Hey, man, how's it going?
John. Hey, going pretty good.
Well, the word I'm thinking of is misanthrope. That's a person who just hates everyone.
Oh, misanthrope? Yeah, they just hate human beings?
Yeah, just hate human beings. They get specific. They get specific when it really turns them on. Like, now they hate ICE. Well, ICE are just people. Let's hate them now. That's the best I can come up. Misanthrope.
Misanthrope? Yeah, the misanthrope used to be almost like an insult. Now they just call them either like socially awkward or just a severe introvert. Because Miss Parker's pretty close to a misanthrope. We are very opposite in that respect. And the fact that if Miss Parker sees a crowd of people, she's like, ew, people. If I see a crowd of people, I'm like, hey, it's a party, let's go. So, yeah.
One other thing I'd like to say, when people refer to me as a homophobe, I say, no, I'm a heterophile.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Shoot back.
I like that. I like a heterophile. I'm going to have to adopt that one.
I don't care what people do.
This is the James Show.
White male, but I like it.
No, and we are also Christophiles. We have Christophilia on this show. We have heterophilia on this show. Sounds pretty good, right? I like that. Americaphile. That doesn't really work. Ameriphilia. Texophilia. Texophilia could work. What do you think about that one, Garrett? You don't have to answer those. What do you do? We got time for another one? Good. Brian, or no, I'm sorry. Larry in Brownsboro. Larry's down in Bear Country.
James,
Welcome to... Hey.
The man that called earlier used the term Antichrist. Jesus is Christ, our Savior, and it's not the Antichrist. It's Antichrist, which is anti-Jesus, which is legion. These are fallen. These are demons. They're possessed. It's in the Bible.
Okay, no, I'm not doubting that the words exist. Do you hear them in popular vernacular? Do you hear them on TV? Do you hear them in presidential debates? Do you hear them from journalists or academics? Or, do your favorite celebrities make montage videos where they're fighting against, what'd you call it, Antichrist?
Well, certainly not. We use the term a lot, the Antichrist. It's not one individual. It's not one being. There's several. There's almost 200 that are fallen. I mean, this is real. It's in the Bible. Mark 5. Read Mark 5. it explains it. It's anti-Christ. There's no other terminology that I can describe it with. I think that's the best term.
So you're saying Mark 5, the whole chapter?
Well, basically the first 8. You got to go pretty deep. And again, I'm not a theologian. It's just my interpretation, but it's right there. And Antichrist is not one fallen. It's legion.
Oh, yeah, here it is. So Mark 5:9, Jesus asked this guy who came down to him, what is your name? My name is Legion, for we are many. All right.
The pigs, yeah.
Yeah, now a great herd of pigs feeding on the hillside. I remember all that. All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, you've given me something to study later. Thank you. Take it easy.
You're welcome.
And thanks for having such a good football team. I remember we used to beat the crap out of the Brownsboro Bears when I was in Bug Tussle. Oh, my God, it was great. Now we can do Brent in West Virginia. Brent, you're on WBAP.
Yes, James, I believe I found the key word you're looking for. It's right in the Bible, but we all haven't seen it. It's called religious persecution. And even though, so the church underwent persecution, even though Jesus warned us you'll be persecuted. However, we have a country which we formed to get away from religious persecution. So in this day and age, it can exist, and federal law, enforce it. I say do put them in jail, because we have to let people know that's why our country exists, for religious freedom.
What are you doing calling from West Virginia?
Well, I got stuck here when I moved here for affordable housing.
Yeah, I hear it's cheaper up there.
It's very nice. It's super low crime. Haven't even seen. I only saw one crime. A guy was trying to shoplift something and they tossed him out.
I hear West Virginia's got a bunch of pillbillies. Have you noticed that?
Oh yes, that's the deep thing. I think maybe it's gone down a little. There's substance abuse somewhere to help them. And I think church could get involved. I think that's what they really need on the inside to alleviate that need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so. I got you. All right. Britton, West Virginia, thanks for calling from so far away. I'm glad you still listen, even though you moved.
The James Show Podcast.